Okay, it's time for a frequently asked questions session on our YouTube channel. Mostly because we get asked the same list of questions over and over and over again, and they're all really good ones. But we wanted to give some of our answers just because, yeah, we get them a lot. So, Kaylee,
Yes.
why are we moving to Chile? Why in the world would we move to Chile?
We are moving. This is my reason why we're moving to Chile. For an adventure with the boys. We have talked about this for a very long time. I would say, like at least 5 years. We've been talking about this. With our youngest, though, it wasn't an option until recently. He's grown so much, and we'll explain that later. But it wasn't an option until recently, and our boys kind of proved to us that they could do homeschooling and that they could still keep friendships even though they didn't see them every day. And we decided it was pretty much now or never, with our our oldest being in 7th grade. It gives us a good 2 years to go somewhere fun with them and experience a new adventure with them.
But of all the countries in the world that you could have picked, why would it be Chile?
So we actually had 3 places that we were gonna choose from, and Chile became our top place because we actually have family that lives there. Joel's cousin is from there, or not from there, but has been living there for the last 5 years, and so we really wanted to be somewhere where family was. We love the idea of our boys learning Spanish immersion. So I think that was like our top reasons. We could bring our pets with us, which was a big issue for us. So those were our top reasons why we chose Chile.
For me, and I think for all of us too, is the chance to live near the mountains again. We used to live in Utah and really liked living in a mountainous region. It was one of the things that, as much as we love Michigan, which we do a lot, it's one of the things that we've really missed for a long time. Also, we're not really big city people, so Chile was a place that we could be close enough to civilization, but also not in a large metropolitan area, whereas some of the other countries we looked at, that probably was going to be the only option.
Joel, aren't we going on a mission trip? Isn't this a mission trip? And aren't you scared to move to South America with your children? We get asked this so many times, so explain.
So, number one, no, this is not a mission trip. In fact, it's been misadvertised a couple times, probably just some miscommunication here or there, because we've mentioned to some people that where we're going, there is a mission church
Small
that's
church
involved.
that we are helping
Very
with.
small church that we plan to help out with. It was one of the pluses, certainly, of going, but it's not specifically a mission trip. That's not kind of the reason that brought this about. It was just kind of like icing on the cake. So no, not officially a mission trip in some way. Yeah, aren't we afraid of going to South America? Sometimes people have some misconceptions. They might hear South America and their mind immediately goes to, oh, well, I hear Venezuela is pretty rough, or Brazil can be kind of a rough place in certain areas, or I know Colombia used to be, that was a drug cartel country and that sort of thing. Don't misconstrue Chile with other countries that are on the opposite side of the continent. Chile is actually actually is the wealthiest country in all of South America, has a very stable government, very high standard of living, and it helps that most things are about 40% cheaper than here in the United States. So we're really excited by the opportunity. Yes, Spanish is predominantly spoken there. We're going to have to continue learning our Spanish and get better at that. And that's part of what the whole trip is about, is to experience a different country and different culture. But no, we're not, moving to an area that like family and friends have to be worried about, by the unknown or anything like that.
And I was told recently that the town that we are moving to is actually the 2nd safest town in Chile. So no one needs to be worried. We wouldn't go somewhere scary with our boys. Another question we got is, what are you going to do about school? And I briefly talked about this. So what are we doing about school with the boys?
So the plan is to homeschool our boys the first year as we get set and kind of get our base camp together. A lot of it will be experiential learning, but my teaching background and Kaylee having really helped with teaching the boys this past year during COVID-19 really has kind of opened the door for us to be able to plan out what they're going to do for homeschool. There is the possibility that the second year that we're there, if Dane and Evan, our two oldest boys, are wanting to experience one of the local schools, there are some really good local schools, and we'll kind of explore that option after the first year a little bit more. But otherwise, we'll do homeschooling for those 2 years that we're there.
Another question we got is about our youngest, who he has something called speech apraxia. And so he has difficulty talking at sometimes. And so he's been doing speech since he was 18 months old, I think, and he just turned 8. So we get lots of questions about what we're doing about him. Right. So it actually turned out that his speech was getting canceled until January. His speech therapy because of COVID. So we were gonna have to do stuff at home anyways, and we kind of know what they were working on. So we feel very confident doing that on our own when we moved to Chile. And the other thing is he has grown so much and made so many amazing strides. That's one reason why we're okay going, is because he's not as far behind as he was even 2 years ago. So we're pretty confident going. We know what we need to work on, and we also will be in touch with the school where he was getting speech therapy from, and possibly doing teletherapy or getting ideas on what we can do if we need help. So we're pretty confident with it.
But Kaylee, do you guys have a house yet? Do you know where you're going to live?
No, we have no idea. So we are going into this knowing fully that's an adventure and completely trusting that God is lining everything up, which he already is. Joel's cousin is actually going to be finding us a house. So we will not be seeing the house in person. We've seen pictures of possible houses similar to what they'll be finding for us. But when we get there, it'll be the first time we see the house. So,
and no, we've never visited Chile before, but we kind of have a wish list of things that we'd like in a house, and we've worked on price points and that sort of thing. So my cousin has a very good idea of what we're looking for and has found examples and sent those along to us. So really, it'll be more a matter of timing of what comes up and is available when we're ready to move, versus not knowing what type of house will be or wherever. So another question that we get a lot is, when are you guys leaving? Is it tomorrow? Is it a year from now? When is this happening?
Our goal is to actually be leaving this fall, hopefully around the 1st of October. We actually just accepted an offer on our house, and we'll be closing by October 1st. So our goal is to hopefully go by then. But a lot of it depends on when our visas get done, the boys' passports come in, and when the borders open up. We're just waiting. So we don't have an exact time frame when we're going. And along those lines, we keep getting asked, what will you do if you can't go and you've sold your house? So I don't know if you want to...
Yeah, there again, we're trusting God's timing, knowing that our house is going to sell, and now we have a date that we know we'd like to be moving by. If that gets delayed because of COVID, because of the border issues, or if it's a little bit longer than normal to process visas or things like that, we have some backup plans that, we won't go into all the details, but yes, we do have some backup plans of potentially renting somewhere or spending some time with friends and family. A lot of that is really fluid and dependent on how long of the delay is. Yeah. But we hope that within, 2 months, as we kind of get towards that final countdown, that we'll have at least what the targeted delay date is. Or if it's open-ended, then we know that we can take some steps maybe longer term while we wait. So the plan is right now that we would be in the US for the next 3 months. Or less, but we'll see what God's timing is there.
All right, so those are most of the questions, the big questions that we keep getting asked that we want to touch base. I'm sure our next videos will kind of talk about what we plan on doing in Chile, and some of the adventures we plan on having. So we'll hit that in a different video, but we just want to answer some of your questions, and hopefully this kind of cleared things up with everybody.